Hey everyone, Tankenstein here, and welcome to this week's episode of Stock to Spaded. In this video, I'll be going over the TA-152 C-3. This is a German rank 4, currently battle rating 6.3 BR aircraft, and it is essentially a do-it-all sort of interceptor. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that it can perform in dogfighting, it can intercept, and it can also do, in a limited capacity, ground attack, and that is thanks to its MK-103 cannon. Now, this is an optional plane, meaning that you do not need to actually unlock it in order to progress through the tech tree, as it sits in the same spot as the TA-152H1, which itself is not an optional plane if you want to progress down that line. Now, that said, this does have some advanced features over the TA-152H1, including a different cannon, so it has an MK-103 as opposed to the H1's 108, and this also features two more 20mm MG-151 cannons. So it is a very, very nasty beast to have to fight, and it also has a slightly better engine, although the engine does weigh a little bit more, about 100 kilograms more. So that said, in Stock to Spaded, in the first match, I typically bring it where the first match is stock, second match is somewhere in between, and the final match is fully spaded. And I go through the entire episode going over the strengths and weaknesses at each different phase, whereas the final portion of it, again fully spaded, I go over whether or not this plane is worth unlocking. So that being said, let's get into it and have a good time. So as we get a little bit closer to the combat here, I'm really considering diving down on those. Okay, so this is a high altitude aircraft. You know, the TA-152 was designed as a high altitude interceptor because, of course, American planes were wreaking havoc on German cities. Now, only a few dozen of these were ever made, and doing what I'm doing is more or less sacrilegious. However, it does have a nice dive rate, so there's that. But this was designed by Kurt Tank near the end of the war. Only, again, a few dozen of these were made. But it's got a fantastic amount of firepower and easy kill. So at this point, I want to climb right back up to where I was, at least to 2,000 meters, because low altitude performance is not this thing's strong suit. Now, essentially, what I'm going to want to, you know what, I've got this FW80, this F84 rather. So let's see if I can trick him. Got a nice hit on him. I will accept that. Turning in on him. So while this does not have amazing turning performance, it's by no means the worst. Let's see if I can get myself an assist here. Put these flaps on. Switch to my 20s. They're a little bit more plentiful than my 30mm. But ultimately, again, this is high altitude is where this thing thrives, and unfortunately in Warthunder you have a lot of low altitude combat. As you can see, I mean, I'm being outpaced by everybody. Another thing about this aircraft is that it will face a lot of jets. So regardless of if you have high altitude, low altitude, whatever engagement you're in, you're going to be facing planes that at least eventually become faster than you. Of course, jets around this BR do have a substantially higher acceleration time than lower or than equivalent super props, but of course they make up for it for top end speed. So it looks like we have a plane of some kind back here. Okay, F7, F1, that'd be a good target for me. He's going for me, so you want to climb up a little bit, dive down a little bit, and hope I can get him. But otherwise, I mean, this is a really nice aircraft. I mean, it's smooth as butter. It's just really powerful. It's got an awesome armament. I mean, even those 20mm cannons would be fantastic alone. But the fact that this has that plus the 30 that I could, if I really wanted to, use for anti-ground capability, it just really has more or less everything that I could want. Now, that said, it does not have fantastic turning capability and will be outturned by the likes of a Mustang, for example. And there you go. So that said, let's get into the second match. My initial impressions, fully stock. It's really decent because it has an interceptor air spawn. If it did not have that air spawn, this would be a much worse aircraft, but it's got a phenomenal amount of firepower. And overall, I mean, it handles pretty well at higher altitudes and can also, and I did test this out in a game before, again, fully stock though, it can take out tanks on the ground with its 30mm cannon, and I believe also maybe the 20s. So it's actually very potent and very, very nice for ARB. That said, let's get into another match, halfway spaded, see how much it improves, and go from there. So here we are halfway spaded, and yeah, I can tell you that right off the bat, it seems like it does have better performance, better climbing performance, which is nice. I don't think its climbing performance is quite as bad as what it shows in the stat card. Now, one thing that we do have here, I mean, ultimately, you have planes like this, right? Like the A1H. Should be relatively easy targets. Juicy targets for me to go after. Now, this 262 is going to go after them. That's fine. I'll probably jump down there too. But the problem is that I can go after them, but then my altitude is decreased, and once my altitude is decreased, so is my performance. So it kind of becomes a trade-off, right? Like, what do I want to do? Do I want to go after these planes that I feel like I could probably relatively easily take down? Or do I stay up and kind of play to my strengths, you know? And it becomes like, hey, do you want to get 2 kills and maybe die? Or do you want to get maybe 1 kill and survive, or something of that nature, you know? Unfortunately. So let's turn in on this guy. Ooh, ugly. A bit ugly. Ooh, don't kill me, please. But not too terrible there. I'm actually really quite surprised I was able to get him. Not because I didn't think I'd be able to line up the shot, but rather because it's a jet with afterburners. Oddly enough, you have to face jets with afterburners. So, that said, I got a plane on me. It looks like, sounds like a jet. Jet it is, and probably one of the most dangerous jets in Warthunder for anybody that has to face it. Got an F8F over there. The Su-11 might be coming back around. I'll go for this A1H. Now, just a quick note when it comes to my videos here, my stock to spaded videos, I want to make them as informative as possible. So they're kind of like an in-between ooh, nice. They're kind of like an in-between a review and gameplay. You know, where I don't want them, like, when it comes to gameplay videos, of course, you want to make them entertaining, polished, whatever. When it comes to these videos, I want to make it so that you can actually have a somewhat real depiction of what these vehicles are going to be like, taking them, of course, like I said, from stock to spaded. And if I just kind of cherry pick all the best moments and be like, oh yeah, no, this vehicle's great stock, it's amazing spaded, that would be disingenuous, you know. That wouldn't be very fair to the people that might, ooh, you know what, I'm just going to take my kill that I deserve because I critically struck him, thank you. But it wouldn't be very fair to everybody who might be like, you know, is this vehicle worth getting, being that this is an optional vehicle? And so I just don't really think that'd be right if I just kind of cherry-picked. And now, of course, like, if I just die immediately, I'm not going to use that. But if I, you know, get 3 kills or 2 kills or something and can fully explain in that time period exactly kind of how I feel that a vehicle performs or not, just so long as I can accurately show how this vehicle is at that point in time, whether, again, it's stock or spaded, I typically use that, you know. So don't always expect like a 5-kill match or a 2-kill or a 3-kill match or whatever. I mean, just so happens to be that I'm doing real well in this match, but it's not always going to be the case, and that's by design. You know, I want this to be an accurate depiction of how these vehicles are, again, at relative or at different stages of their gameplay development. So that said, I'm expecting that this match is just about over. You know, I really don't expect it to really be going on too much longer here. But as you can see, I can also destroy these medium tanks with ease, which is, you know, of course, definitely very, very nice. But yes, I'm assuming again that this match is over, so unless this guy comes down and tries to kill me, then I guess we can get into the next match, the final match, the fully spaded match, and you know, hopefully have a real good time with that. But again, halfway spaded I can definitely tell the improvements, but again, this is not the best when it comes to low altitude, and many times you are going to be forced to play low altitude because that is how enemies are. That's how people play in War Thunder. You have to play to how other people play, and you know, you're kind of stuck to that. But that said, let's get into it. Final match here, and again, let's have a good time. Let's get into it. So here we are in the last Air RB match, and just so you guys know, I decided to do a real quick CAS kind of demonstration with this aircraft. So that will be the final technically match, and also my outro on whether or not I feel that this plane is worth it. Now that being said, this is the fully spaded match. I'm sure this Sukhoi 11 will destroy this A1H. Who knows? May the best man win. And it wasn't me, but I got the assist, which is still really, really nifty. Now, that being said, this plane, I noticed immediately huge gains in performance, you know, with it being fully spaded. And of course, you might say to yourself, but Tankenstein, isn't that kind of to be expected? Yes, it is. But it really outperforms its stat card by a substantial amount. Its stat card makes this plane look bad. In fact, actually, if you were to believe the stat card on this plane, you'd probably think that it has performance equivalent to, give or take, like a 3.7 BR strike aircraft, which is simply not true. This plane is substantially better than that. So we got a single plane left on the enemy team, at least that I can see. So I'll try to go for him. Of course, like I said, I mean, this plane is just exceeding expectations, might be a good way to put it. Fairly easy kill there. Okay, got him real close. So I guess this match just kind of goes to show, I mean, even though I started off very late, truth be told, wow, that was a nice kill. Very, very late in this match. Hey, you know what? I mean, I didn't do that poorly. 2 kills, 1 assist. Could be worse. So let's do an order real quick. I typically do not like to do this, but I'll do it just this one time. And that is unfortunate. So that being said, I'm just going to assume that we're kind of done with this match. So not too bad. 2 kills, 1 assist. All came pretty darn easily for me. So in short, in the Air RB, the performance increase is phenomenal from stock to spaded. Fully recommend if that's what you sort of like, if you like this sort of plane. But again, my actual outro will be with the CAS portion of this video in just a few seconds. So let's get into the CAS portion and wrap this thing up. So I figured a good way to end this video would be to kind of test this out in close air support real quick, because of course that's one of the main reasons why people actually pick this vehicle up. It's, you know, if people don't have, for example, the DO335B2, they might want this. Now, of course, the DO335B2 is superior to this in almost every regard, but this is still usable. As you can see, I just killed a crew member and destroyed the engine, so not too bad. Oh, but that was an ASU-85, so it's kind of expected. So I'm going to dive in on these guys over here. Should get a good angle of attack, I think. Hopefully. Nice. Look at that. Pretty much killed that tank. Should have killed the tank. I'm actually genuinely surprised I did not, but not all too shabby-dabby. Turn back around. Sitting duck. And nothing. Okay, not too bad. But overall, thus far, I mean, I am genuinely impressed by this. Now, in all honesty, I would say the DO335B2 is a far superior plane for close air support. I think that's kind of well established. It's a lower BR, but it does cost GE to actually purchase. So, you know, if you don't really want to get a premium plane, I can understand. This thing is still totally usable. I just got walloped. Holy cow. I'm a little bit too far away from the Allied base, and the match is almost over, so I'm not really going to be able to make it back before the match is through, so I'm just going to fight on as though nothing happened. But that being said, you know, again, I'm genuinely very impressed by this plane. I don't really know if it's going to be as big of a jump over the H1 as a lot of people might be hoping for, being that, I mean, ultimately, the extra cannons, yeah, sure, they're nice, don't get me wrong, but you can still, I don't know, it just, if you're going for CAS and something that's really more so an air cover plane, this plane is totally fine. You know, I'm just gonna die here. No biggie. I did enough havoc on that team. But if you're just looking for an air cover plane, this isn't bad. I mean, ultimately, from stock to fully spaded, I noticed a huge difference, a huge increase in performance. And again, I mean, that stat card lies. It has a much better performance than what that stat card shows, especially when it's fully spaded. It's just a very impressive aircraft. Not the greatest at low altitudes, but that certainly improves. I actually saw the biggest jump of improvement in lower altitudes when I fully spaded it. So, do I think it's worth purchasing, crewing, spading, all of that? I think so, but only if you're really a big fan of German planes. Like, for me, that plane was me just kind of going back and unlocking it, you know, because I you know, had unlocked pretty much every plane in the German tech tree, and then the C-3 was added. So that plane was actually added after I had already kind of gotten past it in the tech tree. So, I mean, either way, I think it's a very impressive vehicle. I like it a lot. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but it's definitely very good. Something you can have a lot of fun with, and if you're already at 6.3 BR plus, it can actually be a very serviceable CAS and air cover plane. So yes, I recommend it in that regard. I don't really think it's a necessary plane, but it is definitely very nice. So that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Of course, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Again, sorry for the track noise in the background. I'm still playing this match, but of course set to the plane landing. Either way, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone. Woo, got a kill.